You and this your Henry will starve each other to death, oh. Love cannot cook soup.
If you ever saw Eukarya and Naomi together in school, you would swear they were twin sisters born by mistake in different hospitals. They did everything together, ate together, gossiped together, and even failed courses together. Their friendship started in their second year at the university when Eukarya's roommates moved out and left her stranded. Naomi offered her space, and that single act sealed their friendship like superglue. From that day, if you saw one without the other, just know the second one was either sick or in the examination hall. Naomi was the final one. Tall, curvy, and the kind of girl lecturers used to call my daughter with a smile that meant something else. But Eukarya, she was the funny one. Always talking, always laughing, and always having one story to tell. You could never stay around her for 5 minutes without laughing. Naomi, one day I will be rich, she used to say. Naomi will laugh and reply, You? You when they owe even a Akara woman money, and both of them will burst into laughter. Life in school wasn't easy for either of them. Eukarya's parents were struggling and Naomi's family wasn't doing much better. The only difference was that Naomi had the man sponsoring her. One fine young man who had graduated and was already working in Port Harcourt. He paid her school fees, sent her pocket money and did everything to make her comfortable in school. Eukarya used to tease her. Naomi, you are lucky, oh. You have a man that can send you money every month. My own Henry. That one will send, God will provide whenever I need anything. Henry was Eukarya's boyfriend, a quiet, serious-looking young man who didn't have much but had big dreams. He was the kind of person that wore one jeans for one full semester and still acted like he was fine. But the way he loved Eukarya, it was like she was the only woman on earth. He would trek from his hostel to hers just to bring bread and granuts, and Eukarya would act like he bought her a car. One day, Naomi said jokingly, You and this your Henry will starve each other to death too. Love cannot cook soup, hope you know. But university life has a way of humbling everyone. Naomi's boyfriend stopped picking her calls one semester and Eukarya was the one who encouraged her. Forget him. If he truly loves you, he will come back. He eventually did after 3 months and Naomi forgave him because she couldn't imagine starting all over again. Meanwhile, Henry and Eukarya were busy hustling small. They sold chin-chin, did typing work in the school's ICT lab with other little hustling here and there. One evening after a long day of typing assignments for lazy students, Henry looked at her and said, Eukarya, when we finish school, I don't know what I will become, but one thing I know is that I will make you proud. And Eukarya, with her face shining with sweat and hope, said, Don't just forget me when all of this happens. They laughed because that has been their thing. They always turned their suffering into comedy. The day they all graduated, Naomi was picked up by her fiancé in a clean car. Eukarya, on the other hand, trekked home with Henry, both holding their files like certificates of faith. But that night, while others were posting pictures of graduation gowns and flowers, she wrote it down somewhere. We may not have it all now, but we have each other. Watch us. In her heart, she believed that one day her story would change, and when it did, she would still share to Naomi, her bestie for life. We all know that if there's anything life enjoys doing, it is changing people's stories when nobody expects it. Naomi got married and moved into her husband's beautiful apartment in Port Harcourt. It was indeed beautiful. She posted everything on Facebook. Thank you, Jesus, for a loving man. When grace speaks, efforts keep quiet. Even her friends began to call her Madam Naomi, saying that she was now Olga's wife. Meanwhile, in another corner of the world, Eukarya and Henry got married on a budget and moved into a one-room apartment behind a noisy compound in Aba. The room had nothing. The window was broken and the landlord's children used to knock every morning to beg for their buckets. But love made it bearable. Every night, they would eat their small rice with too much laughter. When the rain fell and flooded the room, Eukarya would climb the bed and shout, Henry, see, our swimming pool don't full oh. Henry would shake his head smiling. One day you will own a real one. Naomi's life, however, was the opposite. She was living the dream. Her husband Tony was a big businessman. Money was flowing like palm oil in dry season. She changed cars like rapper, traveled out, and became one of those wives who called their husbands sir in public. When she met Eukarya sometimes, she would talk with small pride in her voice. My dear, you and Henry need to plan better. You can't suffer forever. Tell him to think bigger, beg. Eukarya would just laugh and say, we are thinking, oh, now small time remain. But one evening, Tony's business partner ran away with a huge amount of money, and just like that, Tony's business crashed. The man who once bought Naomi gold began borrowing money. Their cars were sold, and Naomi started remembering the same God she used to forget when money was flowing. Meanwhile, in Aba, things began to change for Henry and Eukarya. Henry got a small contract to supply building materials to a construction site. The small job became another, then another, and before long, he opened his own business. Eukarya on her part started selling wigs and women's wears. She even opened an online store. Her funny way of advertising made people love her page. She would say things like, if you wear this wig and your ex no call you back, just come collect your money back. Before you knew it, her business blew up like a matter fire. Others were coming from everywhere. One evening, Henry said to her, babe, you remember that day our room got flooded, right? She laughed. Yes, now. He smiled. Well, I have a surprise for you. He took her to a new building with a real swimming pool. Eukarya screamed and hugged him tight. When Naomi heard about it, she laughed bitterly. Eukarya? That one that used to beg me for cream in the school? She scrolled through social media and saw pictures of Eukarya and Henry. Naomi's heart squeezed like a sponge. She turned to her husband and said, you see life? Some people don't even deserve good luck. Look at Eukarya and her broke boyfriend that year. Now see them. Tony sighed. Naomi, maybe we can ask them for help. Eukarya has a kind heart. Naomi's eyes widened. God forbid. Me, Naomi, ask her for help? Tofiakwa. She didn't know that the spirit of jealousy had already moved in and started renting a room in her heart. Days passed. Months passed. Eukarya didn't forget her friend. She called her one afternoon and said cheerfully, Naomi, my sister, how are you doing? Naomi forced a smile through the phone. We thank God, though, just managing life. Don't worry, Eukarya said. Things will turn around. I am sending you something small, just 50,000 naira for groceries. Naomi dropped the phone slowly and stared at it. 50,000 naira from her to me, she whispered. Instead of being happy, her chest burned. She refused to tell her husband. That night, she couldn't sleep. The same friend who used to borrow her earrings was now the one sending her money like charity. The next week, Eukarya sent her a picture of a big boutique with a shining signboard, Eukarya's Empire. Naomi smiled on the outside but cursed on the inside. Empire kwa? Small girl, why I senior for life? She started comparing again and started questioning God. What kind of nonsense destiny is this? Her husband Tony tried to calm her. It is just her time, Naomi. She hissed. If it's her time, let my own time come too. And that was the beginning of the storm. It started small. Naomi began acting strange. She would still call Eukarya, but her tone changed. When Eukarya said, my husband just surprised me with a new phone, Naomi would reply, Henry too dey try you. Hope you are not over pampering him, sha, because men don't like too much of a good life. It can spoil their head. Eukarya would just laugh. No wahala, I know how to handle him. But inside Naomi's heart, something kept whispering. Why her? Why not you? She stopped showing Tony love. In her eyes, her husband had turned from my king to my mistake. Every time he came home tired and broke, she would mutter, if you had sense like Henry, maybe we two would be enjoying life. Tony would sigh and walk away quietly, pretending not to hear. Eukarya on her side was glowing differently. Money was moving. Business was growing and love was flowing. She never rubbed her success in anyone's face. She just loved to share her joy, and Naomi was her go-to person. One morning, Eukarya called Naomi. My sister, Henry just told me he's taking me to Dubai for our anniversary. Can you imagine? My first time leaving this country. Naomi managed a laugh. Oh, that's so nice. I am so happy for you, my darling. But as soon as she dropped the phone, she threw her pillow across the room. Dubai? Ordinary Henry. Here, since when did broke people start flying? Tony heard the noise and asked, what is wrong again? Naomi faced him. Her eyes were red. Can't you learn from people? Can't you be like Henry? You are just sitting here watching football while other men are changing their wives' lives. She had forgotten when she was flying. Tony didn't even reply. He just stood up and went outside. He had already learned that arguing with Naomi was like fighting thunder. Naomi began stalking Eucharia's Facebook and Instagram like full-time job. Every post irritated her. She even created a secret WhatsApp folder just to save pictures of Eucharia and Henry. Sometimes she would look at them and whisper, "You think it will last, Abby?" Life happened in such a way that she and her husband moved to Aba. So one Sunday after church, she visited Eucharia's home. Henry was outside washing his car shirtless. Naomi's eyes traveled faster than her sense. Ah, Henry, you are really glowing, oh. Marriage is feeding you so well, she teased. Henry smiled politely. Now God, oh, my sister, you know my wife likes good food. Naomi chuckled, her eyes still not leaving him. If my husband had your energy, eh? She paused, realizing she had said too much. She quickly changed the topic. Anyways, where's my friend? She's in the kitchen, Henry replied. When Naomi entered the house, she saw Eucharia cutting vegetables, humming to herself and smiling. What is making you happy this morning? She asked. My husband, though. He said he has a surprise for me, so I'm just preparing his favorite soup. Naomi laughed. Fake laughter, of course. Wow! You people were turning this marriage to film. She joined her in the kitchen but kept glancing around. Everything screamed comfort. When she went home that evening, she couldn't sleep. She lay on her bed, traveling far and near. Tony was snoring beside her. She looked at him, hissed and turned away. You can't even buy me an ordinary blender. Talk more of Bucci blender. Weeks later, things worsened. Naomi stopped picking her husband's calls whenever he was out. She would sit on her bed strolling through Eucharia's status, memorizing every picture like exam. One night, she did something she had never done before. She went to see a certain old woman behind the streets, the one people said helps people to open their destiny. When she came back, her eyes were red but her lips were smiling. The next morning, she stood in her room according to instruction. She wore a red scarf and then she whispered, if I can't have a life, then she too will not have peace. And that was how a friendship that once began with love started moving slowly towards destruction. And we all know that if you want to know a jealous person, then just start shining where they used to pity you. That's when their God bless you will start sounding like God punish you, but in slow motion. Naomi's jealousy was no longer hiding. It had graduated from the heart to her face. Every time Eucharia told her something worth celebrating, her blood pressure would rise. When Eucharia launched her boutique, Naomi sighed deeply and said, So, true, this boutique had left the realm of pictures into the realm of reality. I remember when she used to borrow my slippers back then in school. God, you really have a sense of humor. She got home that day and still watched the video over and over again. Her husband Tony entered the room that moment and saw her shaking her head at her phone. What is it this time, Naomi? He asked quietly. She hissed. Is that my friend Eucharia again? Everything about her life is now fine. Even her skin is glowing like boiled egg. Tony smiled tiredly. Why not be happy for her? Naomi turned sharply. Happy care? For who? Someone that used to borrow my clothes? How can I be happy when her life looks like heaven and mine looks like traffic jam? Tony didn't reply. He just took his car key and left before Thunder met him inside his own room. Meanwhile, Eucharia still saw Naomi as her sister from another mother. She even told her husband one evening, Henry, You know Naomi had been acting funny lately. Maybe I should surprise her with something to cheer her up. Henry shrugged. Maybe that will help. And that was how Eukarya, in her usual good heart, decided to give Naomi a phone, a brand new iPhone 12 Pro Max. When she delivered it, Naomi smiled like she swallowed honey and pepper at the same time. My friend, thank you, she said with shiny eyes. But the moment she left, Naomi dropped the phone on the table and muttered, she bought it for me just to show me she's rich now, right? Okay, let's see who will laugh last. From that day, her mission became very clear to prove that she was still the main friend with power and class. She started showing up in Eukarya's house uninvited. If Eukarya wore gold, she wore gold and silver mist. If Eukarya changed her hair, Naomi would go and do the same style the next day but longer. One day when Eukarya posted a beautiful picture of her and Henry, Naomi quickly uploaded her own throwback photo with Tony and captured it. Love lives here, even though they have not spoken properly in weeks. Observant people began to notice the silent competition. Someone even said, Naomi and Eukarya are giving us husband goals. Naomi replied, we have always been the trendsetters, I beg. But in her heart, she was boiling because she knew there was no we anymore. One Saturday morning, she visited again. When Henry opened the gate, she smiled too wide. Ah, Henry, you are looking fresher every day. Eukarya must be feeding you so well. Henry laughed politely. Good morning, Naomi. Please come in. Inside the house, she greeted Eukarya with a hug so long that it looked like she was a friendly person. They both laughed, but Henry paused briefly where he stood. There was something strange about the way Naomi looked at him, like she was studying him. Later that evening, as she was leaving, Naomi winked at Henry and said, take care of my friend though. She's lucky to have you. Henry smiled. Thank you. But when he entered the bedroom, he told his wife, your friend is different now. She looks at me somehow. Eukarya laughed it off. Henry, you too like joke. Naomi can never try nonsense with you now. She's like my sister. Okay, just saying, Henry replied. Weeks rolled by and Naomi started acting bolder. She began calling Henry directly. Sometimes she would say, please tell your wife to pick my call now. I just wanted to gist with her. Other times, good morning, sir. Please, can you help me talk to your supplier for that my husband's small business? At first, Henry didn't suspect anything. He was a nice man who believed everyone was as straightforward as his wife. But slowly, her messages started changing tone. Thank you so much for helping. You are really a good man. Eukarya is lucky. Another day, I wish my husband could be half like you. Then one night, I don't know why I feel so free talking to you. You understand me more than anyone. Henry didn't reply to that last one. He just locked his phone and slept, pretending not to notice the storm that was slowly gathering. Meanwhile, Eukarya was too busy traveling for her business. She had just gotten a contract in Ghana and was preparing to go finalize it. She told Naomi one afternoon, Bestie, I'll be traveling soon, but I trust you to check on my family once in a while. Naomi smiled sweetly. You don't even need to say it. And then she added, I will make sure Henry doesn't miss you too much in her mind. They both laughed, but the laughter meant two different things. Eukarya meant friendship and Naomi meant invasion. When they were done, Naomi whispered to herself, she thinks she's the only one God can bless. Let's see who really wins this game. And just like that, she started plotting. If there was one person who never liked Naomi from day one, it was Nora, Eukarya's daughter. That girl had eyes sharper than CCTV camera. She didn't need anyone to tell her that Auntie Naomi's smiles were suspicious. Each time Naomi visited, Nora's spirit would just reject her like bad food. And the funny thing, Naomi always tried too hard to win her over. My pretty Nora, come and hug Auntie now, she would say, stretching her arms. But Nora would shoot back slowly and mumble, good afternoon, ma, then disappear like smoke. Naomi will laugh awkwardly. Children of nowadays don't even like greeting again, but Eukarya will laugh it off. Leave her, diary. That's how children behave. Only if she knew. One Saturday, Naomi visited unannounced again. She came wearing a tight gown that looked like it was fighting for its life. Henry was washing his car outside. She walked up, swinging her hips like she was in a music video. Ah, Henry, you again? You are always washing this car yourself. Where are the houseboys now? Henry smiled politely. No need. I like doing it myself. Naomi leaned closer and said, Eukarya is really enjoying you. If you were my husband I wouldn't even let you touch water. Henry froze, looked at her briefly and forced a small laugh. You two like play. But before he could say more, he saw movement from the window upstairs. It was Nora. The girl was watching them, her eyes narrowing like a detective in an African movie. Later that evening, when her mom returned from the boutique, Laura said to her quietly, Mom, that Auntie Naomi doesn't have good eyes for her family. Eukarya just laughed. What do you mean? She keeps looking at Daddy like she's thinking something bad. I don't like her around here. Eukarya waved her hand. Nora, please, don't talk like that. Naomi is my best friend. We have been together since school days. She can't hurt a fly. Naomi folded her arms. Mom, even flies can bite if they stay too close. Eukarya laughed and hugged her. You have started talking like your father now, your children and your imagination. But that night, while Eukarya was sleeping, Nora couldn't. She stood by the window and whispered, God, please, show mommy what I am seeing before it's too late. Days passed. Naomi became a regular visitor. Sometimes she would come with gifts, fruits, cake, even soup she claimed she cooked out of love. Henry tried to keep his distance, but Naomi was like perfume. She always found a way to linger. One evening she brought food again. This time Eukarya had traveled for the business contract in Ghana. Ah, Henry, I cooked banga soup today, Naomi said, walking into the kitchen like it was her own. Henry smiled weakly. Thank you, but my wife. She laughed and touched his shoulder lightly, cutting him off. Stop that thing now. You know Eukarya is like my sister. This food is as good as hers. From upstairs, Nora shouted. Daddy, please don't eat it. Henry looked up surprised. Why? Nora came down the stairs frowning. Mommy said nobody should eat food from outside while she's away. Naomi forced a smile. Small madam, are you now the police of this house? Nora looked her straight in the eye. No, ma, but my spirit doesn't like your food. The air went quiet. Even Henry didn't know what to say. Naomi's face twitched, but she quickly faked a laugh. All this Gen Alpha generation, we are not even ready for you people. They can say anything that comes to their mind without thinking of offending anybody. She dropped the food and left, pretending to smile, but her eyes were dark with anger. When she got home, she was boiling. Oh, so that small girl is now the one blocking me, right? Okay then, let me switch it up. She brought out a small black nylon, the one the old man had given her earlier, and then she said under her breath, You want to see spirits? I will show you spirits. The next morning, Henry woke up feeling heavy. His head pounded and his body felt weak. He told his wife over the phone, Babe, I am not feeling fine. Eukarya said, Please go to the hospital. He agreed, but he didn't go. By evening, he started seeing Naomi's face in his dreams, smiling, calling his name, and whispering things that didn't make sense. He woke up panting, confused, and somehow feeling drawn to her. When Eukarya returned 2 days later, she met her husband distant and cold. He didn't hug her like before. He just said, Welcome, and went back to strolling on his phone. Nora noticed immediately. Mommy, something is definitely wrong with Daddy, but Eukarya thought it was stress. Maybe he just needs rest, she replied. She didn't know rest had nothing to do with it. Something unseen had already entered her home, and Naomi, somewhere in her own house, smiled to herself and whispered, "It is really working." Now let me ask you, dear Karma tribe, is it really working? Or Naomi is in for destruction? Kindly drop your thoughts with me in the comments. Give the story a thumbs up, share out to your loved ones, and please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly do so. Until I bring the next part your way, it's a goodbye from here, and God bless you.